You got this cards?
I haven't, but yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to have fun. Let's have fun. Oh, wow. I feel like I've just joined the Creative Wilderness playground.
I love it. I love your energy. It's brilliant. Okay. So I feel like this is completely your card because you have this energy. Okay, so the card that's come up for you is tomorrow you will be unstoppable.
Woohoo! I will after this podcast.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you will be unstoppable. I love it.
And that's not to say like today you won't be unstoppable, but I guess that card is about looking ahead and believing in yourself.
Absolutely. That card for me is just perfect because I see life as a series of stepping stones, and that's just going with that flow. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
And you talk a lot about creating that connection to life's flow is what you are all about. Do you want to take us right back to the start of this journey? Because I know that you are very much led by your spirituality, by creativity and play. If we're not playing, what are we doing? So do you want to talk me through how creativity has led you to where you are now?
When I was 14 years old, I was in an art class, and my intuition just tapped in and said, that's what you're going to be doing. That's what I want to do. If this is what designing is going to be like, that's what I want to do. And so I went and studied graphic design. And then that led me up to Edinburgh, where I did my BA honours in visual communication. And then through that, I graduated and then started working graphic design as a professional. And I could not believe my first job was working for the in-house for actually Mike Ashley at Sports International. So, and I was able to show on a plethora of things my creativity, which then led me to create the sportswear for Greg Rosetsky, and to see him wear my sportswear and lift up the bag with the logo was incredible at Wimbledon. It was like, yeah, that's just playtime for me. It was
Yes.
amazing.
How incredible. What a story to start with. Because, I mean, who would have thought at 14,
Yeah, I
even in
feel
that
blessed.
moment,
I've got
that
goosebumps. Yeah,
yeah.
I've always, I don't know, since an early age, I have been led by my intuition. I I don't know if it's just that sixth sense. Just can tap into that. I can tap into that. And what led me to seeing the invisible line was I realized that my joy levels had gone down. I needed to change. I needed to. It was for the ending of a chapter in my career as a graphic
Mm,
designer. I had to say goodbye to a chapter. I knew that what I needed to do was going to be bigger. It had to be bigger and needed to make a bigger contribution and serve others. And I didn't know how or what was going to happen next. And being on this podcast is part of that journey.
it's often when we are faced with challenge, adversity, when a chapter closes, that we are encouraged, invited to go within and to review and reflect on what we've been doing and where we want to go next, and to take that road less traveled.
Absolutely.
So as as that chapter finished and you were stepping into the unknown and you knew that you wanted to service others and help others, did you have an idea of like through which or what expression that was going to come in?
It was going to be creativity made for a new audience. Because I did a lot of commercial corporate graphic design, and I do still, because I just love the creativity. But setting up Seeing the Invisible Line, and actually it came naturally because I was actually in Bali and I was reading a book by Michael Singer called The Surrender Experiment. I did not know at that moment in time, back in 2019, looking out at the Indian Ocean, that drawing out my line, inspired by reading this book, The Surrender Experiment, Michael Singer, would lead me to this. I find that remarkable because after drawing out my line and seeing all the connections, all the flow, I looked up out of the Indian Ocean. Lucy, this is,
It's
I'm not
so
crazy, I'm not
beautiful.
kidding you. I looked out and said, that chapter was meant to close. And this sense of liberation, freedom
Mm.
was incredible. And I didn't know that that line was going to become into a course on a book,
Yeah.
manuscript. I didn't know that because after leaving Bali and coming back from having time out and reconnecting
Yeah.
to self and reconnecting to joy, because I had lost the joy. And when you lose your joy, your inner purpose, that well-being, you're out of alignment.
Yes, you do.
You know it. And I had never felt that. I had never felt it so intense. So I need to
Mm.
do something. So yeah, that was the moment. And then of course I came back from Bali, threw myself into the graphic design world again. And then through a series of coaching, I knew that I still had to do some work. I still had to do inner work.
Yes.
And then through doing meditations and actually reading Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein, I was on a walk. I thought, what about that Seeing the Invisible Line? Maybe I could make it into a book. Maybe it's a journal. Maybe it's something. Because at that time, I didn't think I could write. It was all about the graphic design tool, this tool,
Yeah.
this healing tool. It was a healing tool. This line is a
Mm.
healing line. It's a healing tool. And I thought maybe I can go on to serve others. So that's the journey. What a
Wow.
journey.
What a journey. And do you want to tell our listeners what Seeing the Invisible Line is? Because I know you offer workshops, you lead creative coaching, you have a blog, you are a writer, even though you didn't know it at the time, you've been writing. Tell us a little bit about Seeing the Invisible Line.
So seeing the invisible line, it stems from a place of healing. And I believe that for me, the seeing invisible line is that moment where we see the hidden connections, we see life's flow. And even in moments of uncertainty, there is flow. So the way I look at it is life has its ups and downs, but underneath the surface, there's this layer, this line. And the line is a series of events, milestones, key events. And it's those turning points. And when we look back at our life so far, we can see all of that. And I find it reassuring. And I can pinpoint the moments of joy and said, okay, what was I doing then? That's what brings me joy. That's what I need to probably have a closer look at. And we keep coming back to the line.
Yeah.
The line will eventually create the circle of life. And that's what I've put into the book itself. It's actually taking the red thread and putting it into a circle.
Oh my gosh, I've got goosebumps. So, I mean, those people who are listening will, some of them may be at a point where a chapter is closing and they are faced with making decisions that will take them in a different direction. How do we start by seeing our invisible line? Is it a case of, do you draw it out? Do you kind of, because you've done this with your hand as well, do you map your life out? Just thinking in terms of what people can do, maybe if you're listening to this and you're driving, perhaps pull over and stop and maybe put it on pause and pick this up again when you're at home, something physical that our listeners could do to maybe get this process started.
Yeah, I actually started with a blank double page spread in the journal and I just drew out a blank line and then I started to map out. It's like a timeline because I do
Yeah.
encourage chronological for those who need extra guidance, but you can start anywhere because transitions can start anywhere in life.
Yeah.
And then you can always go back because you're always adding things in and
Yeah.
seeing the different insights. And I think that's revealing. I think it's exciting and it's reassuring. It's reassuring that life is guiding us.
You spend a lot of time in nature as well, don't you?
Oh my goodness. This is one of my touchstones. So in the course, I talk about these 4 touchstones and I call it flow in motion. And since I've been living in Switzerland, gosh, for many years now, I live at the lake. And I have been able to immerse myself in nature. I have a dog. I go out walking every morning and seeing the cycles of the year go by in the nature is incredible because it teaches you a lot about life's cycle. And I've realized, especially in the past year, and probably even a bit longer back when we had a dog that passed away, the cycles of life and how nature, we need time. There's the time of activation and busyness, and there's a time to draw back, and there's a time to recuperate and retreat. And nature has certainly taught me that.
Because we're obviously going into the winter months now. And I don't know about you, but I love to see the trees changing colour, and then the release of the leaves, and then you're walking through. I like to think of them as, your memories, your past experiences, and you're walking through them, and then we're going to get ready for the renewal. And I think we do learn so much from nature, but we seem a little bit disconnected from that, don't we?
Yeah, I think we get so wrapped up in thoughts. We need to quiet the mind. And that's why I also do meditation. And I've learned meditation I've been practicing. I was introduced to meditation, 20 something years ago. And then in 2016, I met a Buddhist monk along my line. And he was incredible. He's still my teacher. He's still my friend. And he comes over to Switzerland. And he taught me the deeper layers of meditation. So when I do take it out into nature, you can have a mindful moment, and you can actually have meditation while you're walking, because you're not listening to your thoughts. You're not lost in your head. You are actually immersed in your surroundings. And it's being immersed in your surroundings and in nature that I've noticed how, as I've written on Substack,
Yes.
The snowdrops and the murmurations, the birds, how they gather together to then fly off to Africa. It's incredible. And I think nature can teach us a lot about life. So,
yeah, I completely agree.
And if the weather's good, or even if the
You'll
weather's
be
not
out.
good, your Wellington boots out, go outside.
Yeah, go outside, absolutely. And I think the work that you're doing is about encouraging people to tap into that instinct, that kind of, the invisible.
Yeah, and we need to take time to quiet ourselves and have that time for reflection. Because when we see the magic that was going on, how can we not go on and continue with confidence and clarity? How can we not? And when we have times of uncertainty, because we still have times of uncertainty on a global scale, but also within ourselves, you can look back on your line and use it because you're always continuing with your line as well. It's a lifelong journey. We're never finished with the line, not even with when we're beyond. But that's another podcast topic. It's about knowing and reassuring ourselves. It's a reminder that, there's flow, there's magic. So we need that line. It's the magic line.
It's the magic line. And do you then go back to your line? I'm assuming you do.
Yeah.
When you need that clarity, or when you need a guidance.
Yeah. And it's celebration of how far I've come. Because I keep a seen invisible line in the same book. I map out. So the podcast is on there with Lucy, with the date. Because I think it's a methodical graphic design alignment thing. I do love dates. Because today is 10/10. Come on.
Yes.
Numbers.
I know. I noticed that as well. And it's so funny because for those people who are listening, Elizabeth and I connected via Substack. I've started writing a newsletter, but it's a very, very new venture for me. And Elizabeth has been commenting and sort of encouraging me and cheerleading me on. And I reached out to her and said, I think we've got to meet. We've got to meet because when you sometimes think people come in to your life for a reason.
Absolutely, Lucy, and you're one of them. And I started Substack because through one of my my book coach mentor, she knows who she is, so I'll say hello. She knows who
Hello.
she is. She's actually doing a podcast herself today,
and
she listened to this podcast. She said, "Try think about Substack," and of course, I was still going through some personal things with the grief of my mother passing away last September. So I was reading Wintering, just to go back to January. I was reading Wintering from Catherine May, which was perfect. I just went down and just said, this is it. This is where I need to be at the moment. Then coming out of that, I was like, oh, Substack. So she said, join Beth Campton, do the course. So I did the course and I was like, goodness, oh my gosh, I'm writing. Yeah, I can do this. Oh, it's another thing to do. You never know where this might take you. And I just loved putting the pages together and then
Yeah.
connecting. And then, of course, when I was reading I was so excited when I was reading. It's like, these people, Lucy, she gets it, creativity. Yeah, I'm going
Yeah.
to comment. And I think that was when I was
Is the
commenting
first
on
thing.
one of your
Yeah.
posts. And you'd mentioned, you said, oh, if you'd ever like to be on your podcast. I was
Yeah.
like, that was on my to-do list. Oh, yeah, this is.
Wow.
That's part of
It's
the invisible line. That's the magic. And it wasn't waiting for the invitation. I don't know if any of your listeners are into human design, but I'm a projector, and a projector needs to wait for the invitation. And the invitation came. I didn't go hustling for it. I didn't
wow.
go for it. So thank you for that, Lucy.
Universe is. I mean, human design is like manifestation,
No, it's all about
or
to your character traits. I'm quite new to it, and I was invited to see my chart through a friend of mine who teaches human design. It's all about, so you align with your birth date and the time and the place, and then it teaches you your certain traits, and that there's like a reflector generator. It's very interesting. I find it very fascinating, and then I realized through that now I'm coming into the third phase, as they call it, and that's where my experience and my wisdom and the opportunity to guide others. And I thought, I am now in that space of seeing the invisible line. Hello. And it's all about creativity too, because we are connecting with it creatively, because we're drawing, we're collaging, we're journaling. We are being creative in that space. And when you're creative, that well-being goes up.
yes, it does. It does. You can't run out of it. It keeps regenerating and giving you more.
It's like, Lucy, she's focused, she's in the zone. We're going to give her a little bit of magic, but you know what? It comes from within too. And it's that play. You are co-creating. We are co-creating. And my motto is, I'm going to say it again, and I keep on saying it, and I say it in the course, show up and the magic will happen. You got to keep showing up.
I love that. That is now going to be the title of the episode. What would you say to somebody who perhaps feels blocked creatively, disconnected, king energy, creative energy?
Well, I think first of all, whoever's blocked, and I'm speaking from personal experience, you need to have moments of quietness. You cannot go out and contribute or serve or be of any service if you don't look after yourself first. So you've got to go quiet and within. And it's all about inner purpose and reconnecting to your joyfulness. When you feel joy, you will raise your well-being, and then it can filter out. It's like a rippling effect. But if I know how it feels not to feel joy, because that's where seeing the invisible line stems from. So I would take a moment to reflect, and I would take a moment to do a gentle exercise, which actually I would like to share here now. And it's all about closing your eyes and remembering moments in life, and it could be anywhere, it can be from childhood or any recent moment where you felt joy, and write about that, reflect on it. And I believe that's where you'll start to feel that joy, and it will come up and it will start to increase. You can also try meditation, but if you don't do meditation, go out for a walk. Nature is a soothing balm. And I have also found that when I go out into nature, if I've got a creative blockage, say I'm working on a client project and I can't quite get it, go out into nature and I walk, and then the vision appears and I have it. And then I can't wait to get back to the office.
Yeah, I know. It's you're so right in the sense that we need to step away from the project or whatever it is that you're working on. And I think, if you don't mind, I'm just going to tap into something that you said just a moment ago about a bereavement. And obviously this time of year is very difficult because it will be the year, won't it?
Yeah, my mother passed away on
So
the 30th of September. And it goes back to what Nat King Cole, I think it was that classic song, the falling of the leaves is when I remember you most. But my mother loved autumn, and she loved, can I just say, she loved Halloween. We would carve a pumpkin, and she was buried on the 1st of October. And we thought the burial would be like earlier, maybe because I spent a whole month of October in the UK with my family, and it was such a supporting, warm network. And we were waiting for the date, and the date came, and it was the 31st. And I said, that is a gift. Mom is going to be buried at Halloween. And
yeah,
how could we not be joyful about that in our grief? Because she was intuition on two legs. I mean, she was what we call the mystic oracle. She would know
yeah,
things before you even knew it. So I can only smile actually at this moment in time when we're seeing such beauty and letting go and accepting. And I know that she's still around. But
yes,
I did the work. I turned up, I do the journaling. So I've journaled on this. So I would say for anyone who's going through grief, do the journaling and take that time to be by yourself, because you need to replenish your spirit and your soul, and then you can show up again. But the magic will still happen because you're still showing up for yourself.
for yourself. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for talking about that. And I always find it so remarkable, the strength that people have when they're talking about grief, losing somebody that they love dearly, but still managing to find the joy. And that it is a gift
It's
in
a
its own way.
Yeah. I think spending time with my family, and then knowing that I could step into creativity when I was ready. A dear friend of mine gave me a book about creativity and grief, and I was able to draw out things. And I then reconnected with my creativity through painting, because I do painting. That's the artwork that you see all
Yes, I
over
know that you've seen.
the social media. That came
Yeah.
through. Yeah, that came, and then I showed up again. I was like, I feel ready to paint again, and that was
Mm.
it's in the little steps. It's in the way of the little steps.
So we're going to do a giveaway for the course. Do you want to tell us, is it the course or the workshop? Forgive
Oh,
me.
yeah, it's an online live course, and so yeah, it would be just like this, and
Yeah.
I did one back in September, and it was fantastic because you can actually, it's so humbling to see people use the stickers. I created these stickers, and I created the fold out, and you get that package in the post,
Yes.
and I guide you through reflective exercises. And then you
Mm.
will also start to draw out your line. And we also have some other activities. And we start and we close with a meditation, just very short, just to get us into the zone.
Yeah. So how long is the course itself?
The course in total is 4 hours, and we do it in two blocks. So it's 2 hours one Friday on the 12th of November. And then the following on the 28th, it's another 2 hours.
Wonderful. So those people who are listening, you want to stay tuned, keep an eye out on our socials for the giveaway that's going to be coming up. All of the advice and the tips that you've given us so far about resting and stepping away and meditation and getting out in nature, and going for walks, journaling, are so beneficial. And you do see the impact of it sometimes straight away, because actually just releasing all of that help shift the energy, but you often see the impact of it later on in life, down much, much further down the line. I feel like that anyway. Do you?
Absolutely. And that's why I always look back at my line. And it's a long life journey because you're always adding to the line. For example, can I just mention? So
Of
I've
course.
mentioned meditation,
Yes.
morning reflection, and morning walks, but just going out during the day, because walking is perfectly fine too. Momentum. Now, and 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 momentum in sense of creativity and listening to podcasts like Lucy's podcast
Yeah.
and reading books. But going back to movement and momentum, because I realized when I started dancing, because I did dance classes, oh gosh,
Did you?
Yeah, I learned how
We
to.
have so much in common.
Oh, what a connection! I put that in my journal this morning. And to see you dancing, it was like, oh yes, she can do the cha cha cha. I know she can. So I learned how to do the cha cha cha, foxtrot, and the tango, and it just increased my level of creativity because it replenished me and it gave me confidence too. Because when you've been spending hours working on design projects and you're stepping away from the computer, so you go into the dance studio and you're dancing, you come back and you're ready for your next
Yeah.
day. You're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had space away and now I'm ready to create. And you just let your mind rest because you're focusing on the dance steps and it's fun.
It is. It's so much fun. In fact, just in between recording and making a cup of tea before coming here to meet you, I did my dance of the day. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It just completely shifted
Yeah, it
my
shifts all the
energy.
energy. Yeah,
All
it
the
gets
energy was like here.
it gets the chakras aligned and you're ready.
Yeah.
And it gets the cobwebs out too. So walking, dancing, or any kind of sport. But for me, it was dancing. It was like, who knew the foxtrot could be so, it's revolutionary.
Yeah. And do you dance then? Do you dance now over in Switzerland? Do you have a class do you go to?
Yeah, I went to a dance studio, Alpha Mori studio in Zurich, and I did that. And then, of course, I went into my writing journey. But can I just say about my writing journey? It wasn't until I was
Yeah.
looking at my line that I realized I was writing a design blog since 2010, since 2010. So, and I was thinking, well, that's about creativity. I didn't really think about it as writing. And then it wasn't until my writer friends and my writer mentor said, well, you've been writing for years. I was like, oh, yeah, of course. Because it was just play. It was just inspiration and sharing with
Yeah.
others. So that's incredible.
And that momentum as well, that momentum of writing and you not even maybe recognizing that you'd been expressing your ideas in that way for so long
Mm.
because it was just part and parcel of the process.
Yeah, it was just part and part of the process. And I
Yeah.
set up the design blog, Looking Glass, and that was through meeting a graphic designer, gosh, how many years ago now in Prague? Who knew I was going to meet a graphic designer and a photographer? And she had a design blog, and I was so inspired. I thought, oh, I think I'll have a go at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I still continue to write and share on that. And it's a lovely way to connect with other creatives too, because creativity is so broad. We think of
Yes.
creativity, we can think of creativity as drawing, painting, but it's not. It's creative thinking. And when you go out for that walk or you do that foxtrot, your mind is thinking, but it's
Mm.
thinking in a lateral way. We're clearing the way for the energy and the flow, and it's all about flow. When we are joyful, when we are in wow with ourselves, it will flow. There'll be no. How could there be a blockage when you feel good and you're
Yeah.
joyful
It's so
and
true.
yes, and if you're not joyful and you're going through obstacles, difficult times, give yourself time. Allow yourself time to say, I'm going through a difficult moment. Own it. I'm going through a difficult time. I'm going to retract and then I'll
Mm.
show up when I'm ready, and be gentle with yourself at that point and do the reflection, journaling, and just being gentle with yourself and sitting in silence. We forget
Yes.
to sit in silence. All for guided meditation, but sitting in silence for yourself, meet yourself, and you will meet magic.
I completely agree with you. Honestly, you're speaking my language. Gratitude is such a massive part of me showing up and being grateful for, today when I was walking back after doing the drop off. I'm so grateful that I get to do this. I'm in a position that I can do this, and so many people don't. So
Yeah.
practicing gratitude is so important. And I was wondering, obviously there is a lot happening in the world at the moment and there's a lot of trauma, and whilst we're not experiencing that firsthand, we can still feel it.
Yep. And it's heavy. We've got a lot of things going on in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm going to share some words from my Buddhist teacher, Bhante Sujata. He says, when we look after ourselves, and it's not selfish, when we look after ourselves, we can then look after others. So we can solve the problems of the world. If we carry them, how can we look after it? Because we're so burdened with it.
Yeah.
So if we could just, in our own circles, radiate kindness and compassion, then that's the rippling effect, isn't it? It starts with ourselves and then it ripples out. So we keep that sense of well-being, and it has a ripple effect. We're not going to solve the world's problems, but what we can do is in our circles, and then the circles get bigger and bigger. It starts with self. Let's start with ourselves first, and then we can ripple out into the world.
I think that's such a powerful, grounding message to send to our listeners, you know? You're right, we can't solve anything, but we can be the most empathetic and compassionate that we can be with ourselves, as you said, and then that ripples out. Definitely.
Let's keep shining ourselves and be mindful of ourselves. And wrapping out your line, you will know, you'll feel it, you'll see it. You're like, these sparks, that's me. I'm shining. This is me being authentic, being my truest self. How can you not smile? And when you're being your truest, kindest, beautiful selves, come on, let's do it. And let's do it, in a way that it ripples out and affects.
God, your energy. Honestly, this card, I just keep coming back to this card. Unstoppable. Your energy is unstoppable. It feels.
Because I'm passionate and I
know.
love what I do. I love what I do, and I love how I'm able to blend. Who knew that I was able to blend my creativity with my personal growth and my spiritual beliefs, and it's all combining and blending together, and it's created seeing the invisible line and making a bigger contribution, because that's what I wrote in my journal. Through this transition, how can I make a bigger contribution and serve others? And here I am.
Here you are. Here you are doing it. My goodness. How long have you been in Switzerland for?
I moved here in 2000. So it's coming up to 25 years.
Wow. And did you go over there for work?
No, it was through studying at Edinburgh College of Art. I made some Swiss connections through the person I was living with. And they said, come over to Switzerland, you'll love it, come over. And I travelled over with my twin sister. And on that particular weekend, I met my husband-to-be. And can I just share this story? Because it comes back to the intuition I was talking about from childhood. I sat on the plane when we came back, and I turned to my twin sister and I said, that man's going to be significant in my life. I ended up marrying him. I ended up marrying my beloved Oliver.
Gosh, that is just so beautiful.
It really wasn't a point where I was thinking, oh yeah, Switzerland, yeah, it's a beautiful country, but never in my wildest dreams. I wasn't even looking for a relationship, and that's the beauty. When you're not looking for it, that is when life. Let go of the steering wheel. Let go, let go, let go, let go. You will attract.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a story. And you've been over there since.
Yes.
Is it as beautiful as it looks?
It is. And it's, I never tire of going up into the mountains. Because there's this, when you're going up or you're going skiing, you're going up in the ski lift, there's this silence, this solitude, and the snow. There's this silence in snow. You won't get that anywhere else.
Love that.
It's just beautiful.
It's so beautiful. The silence in snow. You see beauty everywhere. I love it. I saw something on Instagram and I wanted to read it to you. Trees don't have ears, but they do sense vibrations, including those caused by music, wind, and footsteps nearby. Studies have shown that sound waves can influence how plants grow, especially low-frequency vibrations. These vibrations can affect water movement inside plant cells and even trigger certain gene activities. So while trees can't feel music emotionally, they can respond physically to sound vibrations, which might explain why nature sometimes seems to pause in harmony with music.
I love that. That's beautiful. And it goes back to vibrations too. And it goes back to that sense of flow. we got to just tap into that. So anyone listening today and they're like, my mind's so busy, I've got so much going on, take just 3 minutes, put the timer on, 3 minutes, complete silence, breathe, just breathe. And even outside for 3 minutes, go and hug that tree. You will feel it.
You will. It's amazing, incredible. I feel like I could talk to you for hours.
Oh, it's
But
been
I'm
lovely.
wary of time. So the creative journey spans from both design and deep personal growth. The question was, how has your spiritual path influenced your understanding of creativity? You've always been in tune with that side of
Yeah.
yourself.
Well, I grew up going to church because I was in the choir and I loved singing. So that's a bit of
Me
choir
too.
passion, isn't it? Yeah, that was fun. But going back to spirituality, it's all about, as I've been learning through the experience of personal growth, the spiritual is actually breathing. So it's actually breath. So we can actually tap into our spirituality just by simply being quiet and listening to our breathing and being aware of that. And that will bring us back to center. So that's why I advocate that at the beginning of the day, before it really gets busy with everything that we have to do in our to-do lists, is to actually just spend it could be a minute, but 3 minutes is great, where you just concentrate on that breathing. It will just set you up for your day.
I feel like I just want to breathe now.
Well, we are, and we've been breathing the whole time through this
We
podcast.
have.
We didn't know it, but when we have that awareness, it's powerful, and that's also where the magic will happen. And
It
I would
is.
like to just end with one quote from
Yes,
John.
please.
I have it here. It's from a poem called Fluent. I would love to live like a river flows, carried by the surprise of its own unfolding.
Beautiful.
And that's what seeing the visible line is. We are unfolding. We are, and we're being surprised by what you can find. And I'm here to help you find it and guide you. Because
Well,
everyone has
listen,
magic in them.
exactly. You're so right. And working with someone like you know, you feel like you can tap into that potential, that joy, that energy. I completely believe it. And all of Elizabeth's information is going to be in the show notes, you know, so you'll be able to go and find her blog, you'll find her Substack, you'll find her digital work as well, the workshops, the courses that she's running. Go and check her out on Instagram as well. If you want some high frequency energy, this is the place to go. So, you know, don't hold back, reach out. And as I say, you know, make sure you stick around because there will be a giveaway with a coupon, which is so kindly being donated by Elizabeth herself for a lucky listener to attend one of the courses. So stay tuned. Right.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for
Thank
inviting
you.
me. What a gift. What a gift.